Unknown Thought is made possible through the generosity of sponsors who care about people. IC Savings Bank, Ready Honda, and Corey's Clothiers. So glad you joined me for another episode of Unknown Thought. My guest today is Stan Levenson, Jewish-Canadian Olympian, 1956. Stan, it's a pleasure and an honor to have you here. I know that you had the great honor and privilege of representing Canada in 1956 as an Olympian. How amazing was it to walk into a stadium representing your country as a young man? How old were you?
I was 16.
What did it feel like?
It was almost indescribable, Rabbi. It's a feeling that one cannot express unless you feel it. I had the pleasure of addressing your bar mitzvah class a couple of weeks ago, and some of the youngsters asked me that same question. Walking into a stadium of 100,000 people, singing "O Canada," even talking to you right now, I get goosebumps. It was amazing. It's
fantastic. Like it happened yesterday. And then you went from the Olympics to the Maccabi Games. You didn't win a medal in the Olympics.
No, sir.
But you went to Maccabi, and what happened at Maccabi?
After spending 3.5 years in University of Houston on a scholarship, in 1959 I became ill with pleurisy. I lost my scholarship. So from 1959 to 1960, I didn't do any training. I got a letter and a phone call from Canadian Maccabi as saying that I was appointed or put on the Maccabi team. Little they know, I hadn't been training. I was very sick. Against the doctor's advice, I started training. And lo and behold, the good guy, man upstairs watched over me. I got to Israel. I won a gold medal for Canada, 100 meters.
You went against some seriously strong competition, though.
Absolutely. The two top American sprinters, and one Australian sprinter, and there was one German sprinter. Really, they were unbelievable. All these gentlemen, we all ran in about a 10-300 meters, which was a tenth of a second off the world record at the time.
That's amazing. How did you have the strength or the courage to come back after pleurisy and win a gold medal at Maccabi for Canada? How did you do it?
That's a very good question, Rabbi. I was very determined. I was devastated when I took ill. Rabbi, you got to remember, prior to me being ill, for 3 and 4 years, I lived a world of fantasy. I traveled worldwide, going to various cities, running, representing Canada, mostly the United States, in track meets. So it was a lifestyle you dream of. I was I won't use the word celebrity, but I was an athlete. And athletes get treated very different than celebrities, believe it or not. I wanted to do something. I was a lost soul after 59. I really was. But through the guidance of a very good teacher I had in high school, and he's no longer with us, he talked to me for a long time. And there was a gentleman by the name of Lloyd Percival, who was a very well-known sports enthusiast. Matter of fact, he wrote the hockey book for Russia, how to play hockey, back in the early 50s. And we talked for an awful long time. And he said, just do what you have to do. So I started training. I had all my training methods prior at university. Slowly but surely, I started getting back into shape. What was so discouraging, now here Stan Levenson comes along from 57 to 59. I was undefeated in Canada, never lost a race as a midget or junior or senior categories. Well, I was getting beat constantly. The press was not very happy about it. So many words, I was a has-been, I should retire. That was hurtful.
Yeah.
But one man, may rest in peace, Milt Dunnell of the Toronto Star, had glowing reports about me. He supported me day and night. And before I left Israel, we had lunch together, and we talked about it. And he says, do what you do best. That's what I did. I got to Israel, I did.
So we look to the Olympics to inspire us. We look to the Olympics to mean something, even for those who aren't athletes. I remember in this past year's Olympics, that skier fell down, broke her ribs, got back up and kept going. That's what we really want to see. I know that you were part of the torch relay in British Columbia. They honored you.
Yeah, Trail BC.
Yeah. Did it mean something to you that you were a torchbearer, not just, and I would say, not just of the Olympic torch, but of the Olympic value, which is if you can overcome yourself, you can be successful? Absolutely,
Rabbi. Truth of the matter is, I haven't seen these fellow athletes since 1956. At the time, most of the male athletes on a track team were 23, 24, 25, attending university. 50 years later, we're getting together for the first time. It was a marvelous experience. They treated me with such, I was treated with such awe, I can't describe it to you. I was the youngest athlete on the team, and they treated me like was a joke, but they treated me like a child. How is a 60-year-old youngster still in high school being on the world stage of the Olympic Games? But we talked, we had a marvelous few days. It was marvelous to see them again.
That's fantastic. Now, did being Jewish figure into your success or comfort or discomfort? I have to imagine that in '56, the world had not seen many Jewish athletes.
Well, in Canada, we didn't see too many Jewish athletes. We had some famous boxers, Sammy Lufspring, a gentleman by the name Baby Yak. These were well-renowned. And we had a gentleman named Greenberg, who played for the Cleveland Indians baseball. So we didn't have too many Jewish athletes as we know today. I didn't have any repercussions of being a Jewish athlete. No one ever brought it up, except when I was doing all these races in '57, '58, the press nicknamed Mine Boy. My mother used to yell every time I ran across the finish line, "That's Mine Boy."
That's Mine Boy. Now, I was very struck by a conversation that we had, and I heard you speak publicly. You talked about how many medals you won. Just out of curiosity, how many medals did you win?
Well, internationally and in Canada, about 42 gold medals.
42 gold medals.
Yeah.
And then you went on to talk about that the real gold medals you have in your life are your long, happy marriage and your 3 beautiful children and grandchildren. And I found that to be sort of the epitome of what it's all about. How you were able to not focus on the gold medal as an object, but rather as an experience, and something that you were so fortunate to be alive and well and have so many positive memories of what you did. Am I right? Your greatest achievement in life is a beautiful family?
Absolutely, Rabbi. There's nothing more. As I get older, I find my family means more and more to me. In the past 2 years, I've gone through medical problems, and they were there for me 100%, whether I had a gold medal or didn't have a gold medal. I think we put too much emphasis on winning. The world, I mean, for example, if I ask half the Canadians who won the last gold medal in 1982, 86, they won't know who it is. But ask them who scored the winning goal, at the recent, they'll know. So winning is not important. My philosophy is to compete. If you compete well, you fought well, you'll achieve.
What do you say to a young person who maybe doesn't quite fit in or is not capable of greatness? You know, every child comes into an awareness of themselves and says, what am I fantastic at? And not everybody's so fantastic at the things they want to be so fantastic at. How do you overcome the inhibition of making yourself fantastic?
Rabbi, that's a marvelous question.
Thank you.
Only because in my experience, very quickly, I moved from Montreal in 1955 from an all-boys school to Forest Hill Collegiate, which was a private municipality in those days. Quote unquote, that was the high school in Toronto. Here I came along, I didn't have a convertible, I didn't go to Florida wintertime, I had to walk to school every day. So I was sort of I'm not being disrespectful, I was sort of an outcast. I wasn't invited to fraternity parties or sorority parties. So it was difficult for me. I knew I was an athlete. How good an athlete was, I really didn't appreciate until I made the Olympic team.
So how did you get from not knowing to knowing?
Once I made the Olympic team, I developed all kinds of confidence.
So it took an act of courage on your part to try so that you were able to then be visible and people could select you for success.
Yes, remember, Rabbi, making the Olympic wasn't easy. I gave up a lot. Although I may sound like I'm contradicting myself, I had no social life all of 55, 56. At the age of 15, 16, going to parties, what have you, I was training 7 days a week.
So it took courage, it took a commitment. You had to accept that you wouldn't have what everyone else has, maybe, but there was a greater goal for achievement. When we heard you deliver your message to young people, what we walked away from it was that you, Stan Levenson, have not only gave yourself to your sport so you could be successful, you're committed to make sure that young people can learn from what you brought back from the Olympic experience. And although we have to wrap, I have to tell you, for us, your Olympic torch burns brightly forever.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor for me.
Really a pleasure. Thank you.